Hi everyone. We get a lot of questions about head shaving with our safety razor, and as you can see, I'm no expert in that field. So we reached out to some fellow wet shavers in the community who are experts in head shaving, and we gathered some of their tips, tricks, and advice, which you can find on our blog post. One of those experts was kind enough to shoot a video for us showing his tips and tricks. Fayiz is an avid wet shaver. He shaves his head frequently. So without further ado, here is Fayiz.
Hello, welcome to the video. My name is Fayiz. Today I'll be walking you through my ideas of a good head shave, some techniques, some tips and tricks that I use and I think is beneficial for newcomers to head shaving. These are some tips that I give to friends and family that I try to get into head shaving, so stay tuned. First thing is prepping your skin. So what I like to do is I've been using pre-shave oils, and I think this is one of the best ways to prep your hair and your skin. So just whatever is your favorite pre-shave oil. There's no specific brand that I'm going to recommend other than find something that's water soluble so it doesn't clog up your razor and make things tacky or less slick. So this just preps your skin and your hair. It kind of just helps soften things up and conditions it so it's ready to be cut more smoothly by the blade. So go ahead and put that on, and then I'll lather up next. Alright, so next tip that I've got is map your growth on your hair. So my growth is going to be different than your growth. Everybody's growth is different, and we talk about that for face shaving. It's a lot more complicated for your hair usually. I know it is for me, and I know for various people I've talked to, it's a lot more curves, a lot more swirls. So really take your time, let your hair grow out a little bit more, and really map that growth, because it goes in all different directions. Versus like your cheek is typically downward direction, your neck, it's usually not swirly on your face or on your neck. So really take the time to map out your growth. So I definitely took the time, because I've got so many curves and swirls on my head, especially on the back of your head where you can't see. So on the top, for me, it goes forward, which I think most people does. Their growth does go forward on the top most of the time. But on the sides, they go kind of diagonal. So kind of this way for this side and back for this side. So I kind of go at a diagonal angle on the sides. And some people will have some cowlicks. And you just really have to find what works best for you. And as I come close to my sideburns, it goes back down at a straighter angle. An example of finding the angles that you need to go to, or the direction for mapping your growth. Even though it goes diagonally on the side right here, I pull my ear back and I go kind of, it looks like it's across the grain, but it's kind of to the side on behind my ear on this part of my head. But then when I get closer to the middle, I have to go back down on a more straight stroke. So you really should take the time to find which direction you need to go. And that brings us to the next tip that I've got, is use your other hand, your non-razor hand, to guide. Not only pull your ear back, because that is going to be helpful so you don't cut your ear like I've done many times, but you might need to feel, because I can't see on the back of my head, right? So you may need to feel where you're going and where you've gone already, so you don't over buff the same areas, but you don't want to miss anywhere either. My next tip is using longer strokes versus shorter strokes. So I find if you use shorter strokes, because you've got so many curves on your head, that it's harder to keep and maintain the angle, even with pivoting heads. So if you do short strokes, you tend to kind of wiggle and move, and when you go around curves, it's not as easy to maintain versus if you go longer strokes. I find it easier to maintain the angle that I'm at. Once you find that angle and you do a full stroke, you're less likely to change that angle. And my final tip is using a grippy or a longer handle. This isn't necessarily a long handle. I like this one because the grip is good and it's got this little waist right here. Now on the Yates head, I put the America handle. It has the magnet on the bottom. I like this because of that waist in the middle. And then it's got the grips on each end. So I get to change up my angle for my head shaves. When I go towards the back over here, I use more the middle towards the end of the grip versus when I'm on the top, I use closer to the top of the neck. So find a handle that's best fits your hand and your needs, because that's going to make everything easier for you. So on the back of my head, I like using more towards the bottom or the middle of this handle. It just makes everything easier and a more enjoyable experience for myself. Bonus tip is find the razor that is right for your skin. And I know this might seem like common sense, but it's actually a little bit more complicated than that, because for my face shave, if you've watched my other videos, you would know that I like high blade feel, high efficiency, but on my head shaves, I actually like medium. So on these Yates razors, I actually have the EH plate right here for my face shaves. I don't know if you can see that, but that's the EH plate. On my face shave, that works the best. For my head shaves, I really like the H plate. I find that it's efficient enough for my coarse hair without being overly aggressive for my more sensitive. I find head skin tends to be more sensitive, for me at least, and for other people I've spoken to, than their face shaves. So really, even though you have a preference for your face shave, I would really venture into different razors if you can't find something that you currently have for your head shaves, because it may be different.
I want to say thanks to Fayiz for taking the time to shoot that video for us. I hope you learned something. One thing I will say is he's been doing that for a while, so don't expect to jump right into head shaving with a safety razor and expect to be flying right out of the gates. It takes some time, so be patient with it. I hope you pick it up. I hope you enjoy it. Follow us for more tips and tricks, and reach out if you have any questions. Thanks.